Ask the Extra series. I am Margarita Estrada, the CEO of Voyage, and I'm here with my colleagues, Dr. Darlene Blanco, our CEO and founder, and Mario Lewis, our CFO. Thank you, all of you, for joining us for Eastern, Central, Mountain, and Pacific zones. We are so excited to have you with us. Remember to grow your business at Voyage, ignite your career at Voyage, and start your voyage when? Today. For value-added content, follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Start Your Voyage, and follow us on LinkedIn. So last week we touched on personal reinvention, and we will continue that conversation. But today is a special day because we are celebrating our New York Knicks, who came from a 29-point deficit to win Game 4, 107-106. And as all of us know, as team builders, it requires specific steps to be successful. And we're going to look at some of the principles of team building and how the Knicks applied it, and also how we can apply it in our personal life, our professional life, and our social life in general. And yes, and even if you're a little league coach, or whether you coach a basketball team locally in your community, these steps apply to you too. So step number 1 is define clear purpose and goals. Mario, take it from here.
I mean, naturally, the main goal is to be a winner. I mean, which is what the Knicks were targeting to do at the beginning of the game. But as you can saw, the team came out on fire. San Antonio went up to as much as 29 points. So the one goal you had at the beginning now shifted to a very defined goal: is how do we recover from it for a 29-point deficit? So as you can see, when they came out for the third quarter, they clearly had measurable goals, and which they communicated afterwards. Their goal was through the third quarter was to cut the lead in half, which they were successful in doing. So the question is, they clearly had a clear goal that was very specific, it was very measurable, and as you can see by the result, it was quite achievable and relevant. And you know something, based on the shot clock, it was definitely time bound. So they made a very smart goal of reducing it by 15 and then closing it to 0, and then actually going up in the closing seconds. So they had a very clear goal, and they were successful in achieving it. Darlene, I was going to ask you to kind of build on how they used a shared vision to then to execute that smart goal.
Woo-hoo! I couldn't help myself. I got to give them a woo-hoo. And it takes teamwork and collaboration and absolutely a shared vision. And victory is so much better when it's shared because everybody wants to win together. We have successful winning teams that are doing this regularly every day. One thing I want to just mention here, as we're looking and we look at that 29-point deficit, is when you are in that moment, not knowing whether or not it's even a possibility. Like, what do you do when you know that, is the slimmest chance possible that you're going to execute here? You can decide to be like, yeah, we'll play harder tomorrow. Or you can be like, nah, we're gonna grind and we're gonna hustle up and we're gonna knock this thing out. I have to say, motivation and all these things are so amazing when you see them happening in a team dynamic of such, like the New York Knicks and their victory, which I love the energy of understanding how that makes sense of, no matter what, staying on top of your game and pulling yourself up even when you're not feeling like it's even achievable, because guess what? Things are still possible. Miracles do happen. It's wonderful to see.
Yes, a miracle is right. I could not believe it. Well, when they had the 29-point deficit, I have to be honest with all of you, I was ready to go to sleep. I said, there's no way that that they're going to recover. But then I said to myself, what kind of fan am I that I'm going to give up on my Knicks just because they're down by 29? So I stayed up for the whole thing, and I'm so happy because we witnessed history in the making. So going back to our program, I just had to say that. Going back to our program, it's important to select the right people. For example, the Knicks have their front line, and those are the players that are always there. But then the ones that won the game were the players that came from the bench. So, what does that tell us when we are planning our own team? Not only do we have to look at those that are the stars, but we also have to look at those who they may be quiet people, but they get the work done, right? Behind a star, there's always the foundational people that that are behind the scenes, and it's important to ensure that not only the stars but those that are behind the stars uh, are in communion with one another, because when push comes to shove, like it did last night, were it not for that cohesiveness with the bench and the star players, they would not have won the game. Mario?
Very much true. And I want to just one point I want to make on the first point we make about dividing a clear purpose. How do you come back? And Darlene was like, how do you find the motivation? I think they summed it up well. We focused on the next shot. We weren't thinking about a 29-point deficit. We're thinking about just making the next shot. And I think that's what I want to encourage the audience. No matter what you're going through or experience, just focus on what you can control around the next shot. Because once you've taken care of that, then you can then focus on these small little goals that'll help you get to the bigger goal. But I can't agree with you more um, regarding selecting the right people. As you can see, early in the game, one of their top big guys was in desperate foul trouble. He got 2 fouls within the first minute against the center Victor Wembanyama. So that changed the game completely. So now they had to go with all the backup players and all of the people who had, again, different skill sets. But as you can see, as they brought the game to the end, they had a different group on the field, people who were effective in the later moments, people who were good shooters, people who could hit 3-pointers, people who could play good defense. And the San Antonio didn't even know what hit them at this point because selecting the right people also focuses on the measure of the moment. The right people at the right moment will take you to the right results. And one of the things is putting the right people in the right roles and responsibility, which is the next point. Establish the roles and responsibilities so members know what they are responsible for contributing all time. I think that's the key thing. So when you have the right players, that's not sufficient. You've got good players, but you've got to put them in the right moment and the right time so they can play off of each other and play together to get to that successful outcome. So I was going to give it, Darlene, someone who knows about finding the right roles and responsibilities for people. I want you to jump on it.
Oh, I can't wait to jump on it because you know what? This is a prime example of why we need to always be looking at what's happening in our on our plate, right? You hear me say it all the time. Who's on the bench? Who's on the bench? Who do you have on the team? How do we infuse mentorship? How do we look at making sure that if someone can't be available, who's going to have the ball at that point? I refer to basketball in all of my work analogies. For those of you that know me from a previous life, I was a basketball superstar, a number 23 Michael Jordan like fan. Of course, I think everyone is, but what I love most about this sport is the pivoting and the agility that has to happen, but also the team unison as they come up with strategic plans on this tiny, it seems like it's such a, it's not. Those guys are 7 foot tall. This is a tiny play space, and they have to be able to work cohesive to ensure that, like, I know I'm going to throw the ball this way. That person's there, right? It's all about like accountability and relying on each other, the synergy between a team. This is so essential in your everyday workplace, in your life. If you're trying to achieve something big, you need members of a team that are going to support you. This is exactly where it's at. Training and mentorship is important. You need to make sure that while your A players are out crushing it, if something goes down, your B players are ready to step up, and you've been cultivating and training and developing them so that they're ready for the challenge when it comes up. I've been in meetings where all of a sudden something came up and I've been called away, And I don't worry because I know that I can look around and say, hey, can you step up and this is just how things work. So make sure that those gaps that can happen are not there and that you close them so that mentorship is happening. I know that in their game plan, they were coming together. They knew, hey, we're in a critical time. I got to make sure that we're going to safeguard XYZ. You're up. And they were up.
I tell you, last night when I was watching them in the huddle, I'm thinking to myself, do not go for so many 3 point plays because of the last game that they had, they were going for 3 pointers all the time. They were missing, and I'm as if they could hear me through the TV. I'm telling them, go for 2 point plays, draw the foul. Don't worry about getting 3 point plays, and they did just that. Maybe they heard me. I don't know, but that's how they did it. They just got closer and closer and closer, and they kept on shooting. There were a couple of 3 point plays, so that was not their focus. Their focus was to little by little cut down that lead, right? And with that comes fostering open communication and trust because it takes a lot of communication. I feel that basketball is like a dance that has its own rhythm and its own flow. Because when they're dribbling the basket and they're throwing the ball behind them, in their mind they have to make sure that the player is there. But what if that player is not there, right? So it's open communication and trust is the training that it takes to ensure that as they're practicing their drills prior to the game, they're making sure that they're setting up their defense, they're setting up their offense. They use a lot what is called the paint routine where they have their players scrambling all over the place so that this way the opposition doesn't know what's happening. And that's what they did yesterday. But that takes a lot of work and it was beautiful to watch. So make sure that you have open and complete trust with your teams and that they have the right tools that they need to succeed. Mario?
Great. On the topic of open communication, I want to communicate to our audience. It doesn't matter what part of your journey on, if you're a student, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a career working for a corporation, Voyage is the place for you. If you can think about what we're sharing today, strategies, tools, and tips to help you again, now help. We're making metaphors of how the Knicks were successful, but those metaphors applies to you. And like I said, no matter what part of your journey you're on, sometimes you need that partner who's going to help you to navigate these types of critical situations. Again, whatever part of your journey you're on. So please remember, log in for value-added content, become a Voyage insider, and start your voyage today. So with that said, Margaret, I totally agree with you. As you can see, like basketball does provide those opportunities for open and communication, whether it be in the huddles, whether it be when the coach jumps in, or whether you're in the middle of like when they shoot free throws, they're communicating with each other frequently and continuously. But I cannot underscore the importance of what trust has among players, and trust doesn't build in the finals. Trust isn't built in the playoffs. Trust isn't even just built in the season. It's built through all aspects, the preseason through then to the interactions outside of basketball, where they have healthy discussions and debates, how they plan and prepare, and then that's where trust is begin. Because when you're in such a deficit, uh, we'll call it a critical moment in the game when you realize how far you're behind and you're looking in the stands of all the fans who are now silent, of all those thousands and thousands of people are in just absolute shock that their team is being crushed. It takes trust in yourself and it takes a lot of trust in each other to whittle away that lead and get to the point where they had the opportunity to potentially win the game. So I want people to really think about what trust means,
Yes.
how to be patient, and how to be deliberate, and how to be intentional when focusing on building it, when forming successful teams. Again, someone who knows it well, I'll hand it to Darlene.
I love it. I love it. And there's so many good nuggets coming out of our discussion tonight. But one thing I think is really important, is going back to a comment that you made earlier in the program tonight, Mario, is making sure that we're taking that next shot. And
Yes.
that's something that really just resonated with me in our program tonight. I'm putting that in quotes because I think that's really important when you're down and out, when you're not sure, when you feel like those moments when you're going to give up. You can't. You still have to get up and take that next shot, even if it goes nowhere, because it will go somewhere. And that's how you establish best practice. I also want to, talk a little bit about recognizing the impact of trust and what it means on a team, knowing, as Margarita said, hey, you don't know if they might be behind you. But here's something about trust. It's knowing that you're right, Margarita, they may not be behind you and they're going to throw that ball, but that means I trust my teammate so much that they're going to scurry across the and make sure that even if I fumbled it and threw it in the wrong direction, that they are going to be there to make it and catch it, or at least show me that they tried. And that's a really key ingredient, because if the play goes wrong and the ball is going in the wrong direction, what is your partner doing? Are they just going to be like, yeah, you sent it there? Or are they going to say, let me go that way quickly and pivot? So these are essential key pieces of being a part of a team and being a part of a collaboration, and ensuring that the trust is going to be there, because your teammates need to trust in you that you're not just going to give up in that moment too. Everyone's feeling down and out. You're down game. Your fans are, you're right there, but guess what? They haven't left. Margarita did not leave the TV screen yesterday. He was focused in. He made sure she watched every moment and captured that live victory. I want to highlight one other thing about just being a part of a team and recognizing the essence of trust, and making sure that you believe in that and that they can support you and you're going to support them. As a steward of trust and collaboration, take the me out of we, and I think that that's important, because when we're building trust, it's not about I'm going to do for you, you're going to do for me, and that's how you're going to trust me. And that's what, no, take the me, out of that we piece, meaning like, I'm not trying to benefit out of anything that we have going on here. I just want to make sure that we're focused on the broader mission. And I think that that's really an essential component to helping making sure that the trust in there is built on integrity and built on partnerships that are going to continue to exist, because that me is out of that we. And that's my mic drop for tonight. And I give it back to Margarita.
Thank you. This has been an amazing discussion about not only the Knicks, but about building a team in general. It's important to understand that a team has to be cohesive and that all the players contribute to the whole. And as like Darlene said, take the me out of we, so that this way you can work together and go for your vision and make things happen and celebrate. For everyone to be a part of this wonderful celebration. We are so excited that the Knicks have won. I feel that they have brought energy to New York and the Eastern Seaboard in general, and even parts of the world. But there's a reason for that. It's because this is a team that has heart. It's a team that never, ever, ever gives up. And I pray that they win Game 5, which is Saturday at 8:30 a.m. in San Antonio. So let's root for our Knicks so they can bring home the championship. And with that, we say good night. Take care, everybody. Bye now.
Bye.